Morning. Our opening words this morning are from Valerie Cower, who's a Sikh activist and civil rights lawyer. Those of you who know me to use the breathe push metaphor, she's the wonderful voice behind that. She writes, I believe that deep wisdom resides within each of us. Some call this voice by different sacred names: Spirit, God, Jesus, Allah, Om, Buddha nature, Wahguru. Others think of this voice as intuition one hears when in a calm state of mind. Whatever name we choose, listening to our deepest wisdom requires disciplined practice. The loudest voices in the world right now are ones running on the energy of fear, criticism, and cruelty. But I must not lose myself at the feet of others. My most vigilant spiritual practice is finding the seconds of solitude to get quiet enough to hear the wise woman in me. And here's what I discovered about the wise woman within. Her voice is quiet. I have to get really quiet in order to hear her. How do I know when I'm hearing her voice? She is tender and truthful. She's not afraid of anything or anyone. She does not give me all the answers, but she does know what I need to do in this moment: to wonder, grieve, fight, rage, listen, reimagine, breathe, or push.
No? Good. Speaking of quiet and tender, this is a quiet and tender little song from Anne Reid. I know the truth. It's only a place. It's earth and its roots. It's sky and its space. But it's the land where my grandmother sighed. Right here where I stand, in this space neath the sky. The wind blows familiar songs and voices with the leaves, spinning so slowly along until they rest in me. No matter where, if I close my eyes, I'll wish myself there, neath the space, neath the sky. I'll wish myself there, in the space neath the sky.
Thanks, Tom. I was just going to plug Ann Reed, too. For those of you who aren't familiar with Ann Reed, she's a female singer-songwriter from here in Minnesota, and she was also part of the women's music movement, which was kind of back in the 80s, which I could also label as the lesbian music movement. This was back before we had representation in all the places that we do now, and women's music was a genre that music made by women for women. Often these were lesbian singer-songwriters, and it meant a lot to us back in the day when we didn't have so much representation everywhere else. So Ann Reed is much beloved in my community, especially with folks my age or older.
I have to mention one other thing. If you're interested in singing, Ann and Dan Chenard do a sing-along, several sing-alongs. They do one every month, and they have a long list of songs, and they're marvelous to sing along with. So if you wonder about that, go on Ann Reed's website. The information's there.
She's also a Unitarian Universalist. Let's mention that too. So over at First Universalist, where Peter Mayer is also a member, I believe. They've got the big wig music folks over there. Couple announcements before we get going. Just it's the beginning of a month, beginning of the year. What's coming up is women's group next Saturday at 10:30. I think they're discussing a book, the name of which I forgot to write in my notes here. What? The Bookwoman of something. Yeah, that's at 10:30. Itchy Fingers Salon is also starting back up next Saturday from 1 until 2:30 p.m. That's a gathering hosted by Becky McPeak. She's an artist here. And it's just open space for creative folks to get together, whether you're a knitter or a sketcher or watercolor painter. Bring your materials and hang out with other folks that like to be creative. They also work on making prayer shawls or comfort shawls, we might call them, for me to give to congregants who are going through rough times, and quilts and things to give to the community. They do that kind of stuff too. So check that out if you're interested in that. Next Sunday, busy day here, 9 a.m. we've got Social Action Group is meeting in probably the fireside room, which is right over here. If you're interested in engaging in social justice work, please go there at 9 a.m. You don't have to have gone to a previous meeting. They're kind of in the process of reimagining themselves. So whatever ideas you have, they'd love to hear. That's next Sunday at 9. Next Sunday during our regular service time at 10:30, that's our annual fire communion service. We've done this for, has it been every year that I've been here? I don't know if I did the first year I was here. Did you guys do it before I was here? No. Yes? Various forms. What we do is we have a fire outside, and the service will be about the things that we want to let go of to go into the new year and what we might imagine rising up out of the ashes. So there'll be a chance for you to, and we do keep the fire outside even if it's really cold, although I don't think it's supposed to be super, super cold next week, so that's in our favor. So fire communion next week, a very UU ritual. And then following the service, we have Starting Point, which is kind of a pathway to engagement. That's a series of 3 sessions. There'll be one on the 8th, one on the 22nd, and one on the 29th. If you're new to the community and you want to learn more about us, and maybe we'd like to learn more about you, we invite you to come to that. If you want to come, talk to me so that I can make sure we have enough food, lunches provided at those. If you can't make it to all of them, you can still come to 1 or 2 if that works for you as well. So that's what I have for announcements, unless somebody else has anything here that's coming up in the next week that I missed. Holly? Oh. Community dinner, yep, that's, so we're starting 2 new food gatherings for the community in January. These will be every month. So Friday, the 13th, is community dinner night. Those evenings are going to be hosted by a different group or committee each month. This first one, staff is hosting. So we'll make the food. We're going to have Mexican food. And maybe there'll be some game tables. It's really just meant for people to be just that, in community with one another. There's no programming per se, it's just meant to be space for us to gather and have fun together. So that's Friday the 13th. And then on the fourth Sunday of every month, there'll be a community potluck following the service. So another opportunity for people to stay a little bit longer and get to know one another. We're really trying to rebuild back the ties of community that we kind of lost during the pandemic. So we hope that you'll stay and enjoy, being in community with us on one of those occasions. Getting back to being in community this morning, I want to invite you all to share in the words for our chalice lighting this morning. Maybe we have a slide for? Ta-da! We carry the hopes of our ancestors. Each week, we do set aside a few minutes to lift up the joys and sorrows of the folks that have gathered here and on Zoom, and even on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching right now live or whether you're watching on Tuesday afternoon, you can always write your joys or concerns that you want to share in the comment section. And Zoom folks, you can write it in the chat, and we'll read it out loud here. But for now, is there anybody here that has joys or sorrows to share? And I'll have the ushers somebody will bring you a microphone. Please wait for the microphone, otherwise the Zoom and YouTube folks can't hear you.
There we go. All right, y'all can hear me okay? My joy today is I brought my friend Bob. He's very excited to join our community, so if you all want to introduce yourself to him after the service, that'd be really great. So thank you for coming today, Bob. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, Bob. Should have gone before that. I just want to make sure everybody acknowledges that Gabe is back with us, at least temporarily, and promises at some point in the future to bring his marimba. Those of you who remember Gabe as a kid
yeah.
remember his magnificent percussions. So it's good to have you back. Don't forget to introduce yourself, people. Who do I want to be today? New Year, Judith Anderson.
Anybody else? How about Zoom? Let me peek over there. Oh, Myra's just saying it's a joy to ring in the new year with her niece. Eric Grady's happy to have a bounce house and pinata for kids and invited friends and neighbors last night and relatives. I had a joy of getting together with my steps, or not my steps, but my wife's steps yesterday, which always feels a bit weird because they're kind of more conservative Christians. And so as a queer person, sometimes we feel a little outsiderish there. But it was good. We had a great time, and it was wonderful. So.
I'm honored to be here. I was invited by my friend, and I really enjoyed the fact that I came here in the first place. It really made a difference. Thanks.
Welcome, Bob. Anybody else this morning? Oh. Barb Becker said she had a wonderful time visiting with her daughter who lives in Washington. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of us got to spend time with people that we don't normally get to see over the holidays. That's always a blessing, unless it's not. We'll put that in joy and sorrow, depending on what that was for you. Anybody else this morning? No? I think we'll do our song response. Can one of you lead us in that? I don't have a piano. It's just a cappella. And we believe in love and in the strength of love, and we have found a need.
to be together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, we got a loosely thrown together service this morning because, as you can tell, it's a holiday and we've got a holiday turnout, which is not a huge amount of folks here, although we've got folks on Zoom too. So I had thought what we could do was something a little more interactive today. Now, Jeannie Picos, who is our administrator extraordinaire, is also our poet in residence. She writes poetry, she's written a memoir, a writer in residence, really. She led staff on this exercise that we're about to do. We had a staff retreat in December. And as we were doing it, because this is how my brain works, anytime I'm doing anything, I'm like, will that preach? Or can that be a program of some sort to share with the community? And so we were doing this exercise and I was like, boy, this is really great. It would be really nice to like share this with people. And at the time, I hadn't quite hit up the lay folks yet to tell them that I wanted New Year's Day off because it's not usually a well-attended service. And so I thought, well, hey, I could do this and that way it's a little less prep for me. I can have a little downtime during the holidays myself. And so here we have it. So hold on, I just need a little water. What I like about this exercise for this time of the year on this New Year's Day is that you kind of look back and you also take a little moment to think about how you're feeling right now and kind of where you want to head, which is a very New Year's Day kind of thing to do. So this exercise, Jeannie came up with it. Oh, also I want to plug, Jeannie has a writing practice group, and it's the, I think, third Thursday. It's on the 12th this month. Is that the third? No, maybe that's the second. Here's another announcement. The January Unison is out. And all the dates and information about all these things are in there. So check that because I didn't write it down. But she has a writing group and does exercises like this every month or different kinds of writing exercises. It's great. So check that out. I'm going to read you 2 examples. And if you didn't get a sheet, when I'm done with these, well, I'm going to read you 2 examples and then we'll talk about it. I am from a house with laughter and stories. I am from the truss that bridges heaven and earth. My way has been windy and bumpy. Many times I was scared, but I am loved. I have learned to understand grace from the suffering everyone has endured. No one has ever been with me without laughing with me. My back hurts from carrying the weight of the world. At times, loss has been a dark and debilitating place, and it stops me like a blizzard or a pandemic. And love sometimes feels like a big, old, beloved tree that I swing from. And loneliness does not last in me because it grows my heart. I go silent in snow when I pause and the world seems still. In my dreams, I am curious and I can soar without any might. I am walking toward home with peace in my heart. I've been taught to carry my ancestors' stories. It is me and I am them. But I've put down self-doubt and self-righteousness and I am free. I leave behind fear, I leave behind isolation, and I leave behind heartfelt loss. But I take with me grace, courage, gratitude, and love. And here's another example. These are from staff that we did. I am from kitchen tables and redwood trees and empty buckets. I am from freshly baked bread. My way has been quiet and busy. Many times I disappeared, but I am finding something new now. I have learned to move on from the nothingness that held me. No one has ever left me without doubt. My hands hurt so much from loneliness. At times, loss has been a gray ambivalence that came over me like a gloomy rain. And love sometimes feels like a sprinkle of sweet angel wings that I crave. And loneliness does not leave me because it grows around me. I go silent in winter when I rest and the world seems silent. In my dreams, I am brave and I can fly without any pain. I'm walking toward home with joy in my shoes. I've been taught to carry shame. It is heavy and cautious, but I've put down the blame and I am free. I leave behind so many stories that trapped me. I leave behind being the new kid. I leave behind being the abandoned kid. But I take with me belonging, safety, and an empty page. So you get the kind of feel of it, right? Now, I also want to say that whatever words you decide to put into those blank spots, this isn't like, a military exercise. If you need to change the words surrounding it to make it fit, please do that. There are blank sheets of these out there on the table if you didn't get one when you came in. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 20 minutes. We're going to come back at about quarter after. Folks on Zoom and YouTube, there should be a link for you to get a PDF of this. There's pens back there, there's clipboards. You can get a clipboard and stay in here if you want, but we have the whole building. So if you want to go downstairs, if you want to go in the fireside room, if you want to find some space that's more private, go ahead. But let's spend let's spend till quarter after working on this. And I'll ring the bell when we're coming back. So if you go somewhere else, just listen for the bell. How was that? Good. Again, I want to thank Jeannie for doing this exercise with staff. I thought it was a really great way, to have a framework that kind of invites you into some creative, poetic thinking. And what I want to do now is just open the mic up here. And if anybody wants to share either how it felt to write it, or share what you wrote, or even just a line or two of what you wrote, that would be great. And folks on Zoom, if you want to write in the chat, I realize you can't necessarily put your whole thing in there necessarily for us to read, but if there's a line or two that really captures your heart that you want to share, we'll read those off here too. So I'm just going to leave this open, and whoever wants to come up can come up. Just if you come this way, make sure you're careful of the cords over here.
Karen Olson. Just a couple of lines. I struggled with this, but on the first side, my way has been far and near. Many times I moved, but I survived. I have learned to overcome the dreaded change.
I'm Kathleen Coate. I thought of some past relationships that have been traumatic for me. One of my lines I wrote was, "No one has ever released me without a fight."
Tom Ellinger. It's 2 lines. Where'd that one go? No one has ever smiled at me without sparking joy in my body. And one other. At times, loss has been a purring cat that lies by my side like early morning fog.
For those of you who don't know it, my name is Lorna Prell, and I was recently diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which has been a big disruptor in my life. So what I wrote is that in my dreams I am content while I am walking toward the end with hope in my heart.
Just going to read a couple from Zoom. Katie Angel writes, "At times, loss has been a gray sadness that encompasses me like a dense fog." Myra Bassar shares, "I leave behind anger and sadness about my childhood, but I take with me the strength and determination that it instilled in me." Eric Grady writes, "My neurons hurt from so much blockage. I carry my vision. It is light and whimsical." Anybody else here want to share this morning? Also Eric writes, "I put down inertia and I am moving." It's a good exercise. I really like it. And I just did another one. I had read one of mine for you earlier. There's more in the back that I printed off. Feel free to take it home and use it as a model for your own writing practice, or to share it with others. Make sure if you do share it with others that you mention that it's Jeannie's exercise. And again, if you want to, tap into your own centering, your own self-exploration, with Jeannie, you can do that here with her writing group on Thursday, the 12th, or whichever Thursday that is. It meets every month, so, and you don't have to, it's not a club where you have to be at every meeting. You can just come whenever it works for your schedule, so do check that out. Our closing song is a favorite that talks about places that we come from, and Karen Olson's gonna lead us in that, and I think we'll have slides with the lyrics up here, or else it's number 1064 in the Teal hymnal. And I'll invite you to stand if you're comfortable for this, if you're singing.
Here we go.
Though
all please join me with the words for extinguishing our chalice this morning? Extinguish this. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And I want to close with a poem from Donna Ashworth. No, 2023 won't be the best year yet, nor will it be the worst. You see, a year is a mosaic of absolutely everything: joy, fear, heartache, loss, beauty, pain, love, failure, learning, friendship, misery, exhilaration. Each day, each moment even, is a tiny shard of glass in this beautiful, confusing creation. 2023 will be another mosaic to add to your wall of art. A wall that shows the life you are continuously gifted. A wall that shows you are human. A wall of survival. I wish you many broken pieces of glasses this year, my friends, because this is living. And before you march on into another year of everything, pause to look back at the work you've created thus far. It's quite something. You are quite something. Now onwards we go, my friends. Onwards we go. Thanks for coming this morning. If anybody wants to stay for visiting, there are stray tins of cookies and things downstairs. You're welcome to stay and visit downstairs or up here, but thank you for coming this morning and Happy New Year, everyone.
Four Strings has a lot of